12 steps wasn't for me. Here's my 3-step guide to sobriety. It's pretty simple on paper. The first thing is to get sober. We'll cover that first. Most important one's last, obviously. Get sober. Now, I tried to get sober many times by cutting down, even in my early 30s. And I cut down a little bit. It would build up again. Even though the doctor said, look, you must cut down. I didn't have any physical symptoms, but I was feeling a bit anxious, a little bit tired, lack of energy and such like. And I remember going to this doctor in Epping, where I used to live, quite a young doctor, and she said, I got dragged there by my wife by the ear. Come on, to the doctor. I didn't want to go. And she said, you need to cut down because of this, that, and the other. Blood test came back all right. And I said, can you help me with it? She said, oh, you don't need any help. You just got to cut down. You're fit, you know, this, that, and the other. You look all right to me. You look all right. God knows what goes on inside you. People are going to look all right and not be all right. And so the get sober part can be complex if you're drinking a lot and you enjoy the pub. You enjoy the pub. You like, you know, it's like saying alcohol. While you drink, it's something you enjoy, isn't it? So I tried to cut down. It didn't work. And then I took some time off work and came up north to try and get sober. The first part. And I had seizures because I was so dependent on it. I didn't realise I was so dependent. I was physically dependent on it. But prior to that, I had a lot of anxiety on the underground, dealing with things at home, just general anxiety. Became acute anxiety at some points when I'd had too much to drink, or had a 3-day session on a long weekend, and I found out I couldn't fly because of the nerves, and I thought, God, what happens if I get on the flight and I open the plane door, and so we book holidays in advance and I have to cancel them and all this sort of thing. Eventually got on the odd flight and I used to sit there shaking on the flight. I had a few drinks before. Still I was nervous of flying. I'm not now, I fly all the time. So when I tried to get sober, I had these seizures and I was told that I couldn't just stop because I had dependence. And then I had diazepam, which is basically, I was told, alcohol in tablet form to try and ease the withdrawals and the pain of coming off the booze. Which worked a couple of times. The next phase, believe it or not, is to stay sober. This is problematic for a lot of people. Because initially, you feel pretty good when you stop drinking, but you miss out. You think you're missing out on the glory. And the glory days of being in the pub and what's going on in the booze and this and the other. You get bored. I get bored. Especially when I retired, what am I going to do next? I was always taken straight back to the pub. Staying sober isn't easy. When you're off the booze, no matter how you get off it, whether you can just cut down or you can come off naturally, then you've got to stay sober. But you've got to fill in the time. If you work out the amount of time you spend drinking, a hell of a lot of hours in there, and recovering from drink as well. A big chunk of your life is spent in bed, recovering from a drink, or even having the hair of the dog, going back to the pub or bought in a few cans to try and feel better. Find out where the cans you've hidden are, and you become deceitful and all this. So you've got to try and stay sober. You've got to have a hobby. I said it's all right on paper, this. It took me years to find out how to do it. I'm trying to teach you how to do it, or help you to do it. But getting sober is the first part. Staying sober is very, very difficult. But you can do it with help and support and a very strong will to not drink again, because you need that to stay sober. But you'll find that your life will change if you stay off it for a while. My problem was I'd think, well, I feel all right now. Getting fit, eating a little bit better, and I feel good now. I'll just have a couple of drinks. Especially when you go on holiday, because you think there's nobody watching. But when you're an alcoholic, you feel as if everyone's watching you. You feel rather paranoid, don't you? The longer you stay sober, the better chance you've got of being sober for life. And that's the thing. So I stayed sober for 8 years. And I felt really good. And I was enjoying myself for the first time for years because I felt really good. I didn't have hangovers. I didn't have any withdrawals. I didn't have any anxiety. I had more money in the bank. I was able to function properly. Prior to that, I wasn't functioning properly at all. It buggers up your health so, it's so destructive. And when you get sober, it's great. Life opens up for you. It takes a bit of time. So you've got to stay sober, stay sober. You have to have that mantra in your mind all the time. I will not go to the pub because I know what's going to happen. Okay? So we'll cover get sober, which you can do, even if you've got to get some help. Although there's not enough, well, I don't think there's enough help available, but if you push it, you will get help. Or you can tape it down, do something, get in touch with me or somebody else who does this. Speak to people who've cut down, speak to people who have actually achieved sobriety as well. Mix with other people, don't mix with the drinkers. Stay sober, you've got to find something to do. You have to have a hobby, you have to have an interest, you have to fill in those hours because there's a lot of time spent. A lot of people come from work at 6 o'clock, that's just an example, and they'll have a can of beer, they'll pour themselves a glass of wine. Even in the early stages, they don't realise that they're doing themselves harm. I'm not an alcoholic, I just drink a few. But medical science has shown that any alcohol will be detrimental to your health. So, got sober, we stayed sober. Now the big one, preventing relapse. This is incredibly hard. Because even though I was off, I think about 4 times, I relapsed. And the last relapse was to the point of near death, because I'd been off sober for 8 years and I met somebody, I'd drunk again because they didn't coerce me into it. I felt like I needed to fit in. I didn't want to tell her that I was an alcoholic. It's still a stigma, isn't it? So I drank a couple of things and I'll be fine after 8 years. My liver will be all clean and tidy and pink. And it was completely opposite of that. After 8 years sober, after about a week or two, I was drinking in the morning again. And it caught up like a train. And it really knocked me for 6. So you've got to have in your head, when you're sober, you stayed sober, you will not relapse. Do not relapse. Because when you relapse, every time you relapse, it'll get worse. I keep going on about this. But until you've been there, like I have, you won't realise how bad it is. It'll just, like I said, hit you like a train. It'll chop the legs off you. You can't do what you used to do a week before. It's so quick to catch up with you. It's incredibly quick. It was a shock to my system. It was a shock to me, mentally, physically, that I couldn't get off it again. I thought, well, just 2 weeks ago, I was having nothing. Now, 2 weeks later, I can hardly walk. I felt dizzy. I felt sick. I felt anxious. I felt paranoid. I lost all my confidence in 2 weeks. How did that happen? Because it's a very divisive drug, that's why. It's a killer. Okay? So do not relapse. Do not relapse. That's what you've got to go through. So get yourself sober. That's the easy bit for most people. Not for everybody, for most people. Staying sober, you must now concentrate on what you want and your goals. How are you going to improve your life? Because nobody wants to be at the bottom of a bottle. We don't start out thinking I want to end up as an alcoholic. Nobody does that. That's crazy thoughts, isn't it? And then the third one is prevent relapse. To prevent relapse, you've got to be strong. You have to have found something which is more important to you than alcohol. You have to replace that need, that habitual visit to the pub, the people you used to know in the pub, the beer that you used to buy from Tesco, whatever it is, you know. You've got to concentrate on your health. Because when I was really at rock bottom in 2019, I was told I may die, which is the truth. That's what I was told. And if I ever drank again, I'd be dead. When I got to that point, I knew my health was paramount then. When you're younger, you don't worry too much about it. When you're 30, you never think you'd be 60, and so on. And so you've got to get to the point where your health is more important than anything. Forget about your job, forget about what's happening in your life. Today is today, tomorrow is tomorrow. You can't turn the clock back, but you can wind it up again. So focus on your health, focus on your well-being, and focus on yourself, because you can't help anybody else unless you've looked after yourself first, okay? That's my 3-step program to a better life. Get sober, stay sober, and do not relapse. I've got an ebook out, Get Sober, Stay Sober. It's only $5.99. Click on the links in the description. Also, one-to-one mentoring. If anybody's interested in that, I've helped a lot of people stay off the booze. Well, I've been doing this for about a year now, and a lot of people have done it for a year, and they're still sober and enjoying life. Click the link in there. I do lives as well, 3 times a week. I'll do a short on that, let you know when it's coming up. Keep in touch. Any questions, drop me a line. Speak soon.